All right, good morning everyone. We did say an 8:30 kick-off on the program, but there's some good news and some bad news about the program. Our first speaker, Kim Ellis, is unable to join us today, and we haven't been able to get any other version of her talk. We do have one other speaker who can't make it. So just after lunch, Peter Prinsloo, who will be talking, who was representing Sandvik, rang me yesterday and said he had chicken pox. Oh. So he's unable to join us, but he will be coming in by Skype, and we'll be able to look at his slides at the same time. So he's we'll still get to see his presentation, but he won't be able to join us. And for those of you that haven't had chicken pox, you're probably thanks for that decision. Okay, well look, I'd like to welcome you all onto our campus today for the Software Mining Forum. We've run a number of events as the Australian Centre of Space Engineering Research, or ACSA, and this is by far the one that's created the most interest and really is probably the most exciting of the events that we've organised. I do have to thank the sponsors of the event, because otherwise we wouldn't really be able to do it. So we've had financial support from the Faculty of Engineering at New South Wales, the Schools of Civil and Mining Engineering, and from Transit. So thanks a lot to those people who organised the money from those organisations, and largely thanks to them, we're all able to have a nice Harbour Cruise tonight, for instance, and to use this venue. Just on the, you can see there the two schools of engineering, civil and mining. When we set the centre up, part of the job, my job, was to engage schools across the Faculty of Engineering. The schools that most people would be thinking of when you're thinking about space would normally be schools like, say, electrical, mechanical, electronics, and computer science. Our centre lives in the School of Surveying and Spatial Information Systems, because that's where our GPS work has traditionally been done, and a lot of our Earth observation work is done. So by engaging with civil and mining, we're now sort of up to 6 schools across the faculty that will work together on space-related activity. So that's another, for me anyway, that's another exciting element of this particular work that we're doing here today. So the centre was set up about 2 years ago. I mean, we're still really, to some extent, finding our feet. We've got a few people, 12 staff, many of whom you see running around doing the logistics for today, and other PhD students. But across the faculty, there's about 80 other people who are doing work that's related to space. So trying to get those people all talking to each other, I think if we're able to succeed in doing that, then we should be able to achieve these sorts of things. So this is from our strategic plan. We're looking to give national leadership and to develop space capabilities. These are things that are actually, at the moment, absent in Australia, and so we're hoping that the centre becomes a leader in this area, so space capability in Australia has a brighter future. The main projects that we're running at the moment, we've got a project on synthetic aperture radar, and specifically looking at the application of synthetic aperture radar to soil moisture, with the Murray-Darling Basin as being the area that we'd most like to look at. So it's our exemplar. Now, as part of that project, we're also developing a dual frequency, dual system satellite navigation receiver for space, and doing some work on geonocentric reflectometry, which is Earth observation, looking at reflections of satellite navigation signals from the surface of the Earth. The little GPS receiver, this one, it's a CubeSat GPS receiver. We're developing that for a project called BRI, and it's created quite a lot of interest. NASA are interested in this. We're also probably going to fly that on QB50, CubeSat. So QB50, our contribution to QB50 is pretty much entirely funded by the university, and fly the GPS receiver. Also another processor board. One of the research institutes that's associated with the university is called NICTA, so most of you know what NICTA is. But they have an operating system or a kernel that probably runs in the phone that's in your pocket. They run 60-70% of the world's phones because it's a kernel that's proven to be sort of crash-proof. And they're looking to run that in space in this nasty environment to see how that behaves. We're also putting together the first satellite systems engineering masters course in Australia, and that will be run both on this campus and on the campus in Canberra, which is the Australian Defence Force Academy. One of the main things that we do at the centre is events like this, getting people together to talk to each other. So not just engaging across the university, but across the country and internationally. And you can see that we've covered a number of topics. Several of them obviously are related to satellite navigation, because that's where many of us have done our research historically. But we are looking at CubeSats as a possible way for Australia to get a space industry kick-started. And also particular elements of Earth observation, like using SAR, how do you use Earth observation for disaster management, that sort of thing. So we're down here in this list. We're on a number of internal things which are partly for educational purposes, but partly for collaboration. Now, one of the newer initiatives, which Gordon, who you'll be hearing later this morning, is pushing while he's here, is robotics for on-order assembly. This is related to our Garada project, and is another way of engaging people from the mechanical engineering school who are already doing work in robotics. And we'll see quite a lot on automation throughout the forum in the next couple of days, and we'll see how this is related. Now, many of you will have noticed the Channel 9 cameras outside. We're attracting a lot of media interest for this event. And one of the questions we're often asked is why are we running this event in Australia? Because everyone knows that the Australian space industry is particularly strong. But if you think about it, this really is, in many ways, the right place to be thinking of running an event like this. The world's largest mining companies are Australian, BHP, Rio, we all know the names. Rio run the best mine automation operations in the world, and it's a great exemplar of how you might go about doing a similar sort of thing in space. The mining engineering research that we will probably hear a bit more about from Serkan later on, again, is sort of world class. And the things that we can do here on the campus at this university that are related to this subject, including the soil simulants. We had the workshop yesterday that Leonard's not here yet. And the robotics that I mentioned, mining research that I mentioned, and some of the work that we're doing in space systems. So we're hoping that we'll be able to do something with this later on. In terms of the now, why now, it's remarkably timely. A lot of the things that I'm about to mention have happened since we started planning the workshop. We actually started talking about this particular event before Planetary Resources and Deep Space Industries launched their operations. But because they have done, again, what we're doing here is very timely. Actually, I was going to bring this newspaper in, but only last month, this is the front page of the local newspaper, the Sydney Morning Herald's our local broadsheet for the out-of-towners. And the front page story there, rocket science takes off in the university battle for the brainy. The local, in New South Wales, the state that we're in, the score that you're required to get into a university degree, the degree that had the highest entrance score was mechatronics in space at Sydney University, and we have some Sydney University students here today. So the cleverest students in New South Wales want to work in space. Now, I know what you're thinking. They're so clever. Why are they applying to Sydney University instead of University of New South Wales? But there's plenty of room for several good universities across the country and even in the city. So we'll be hearing from some of the work of those guys later. And here we are. This photograph was published last week from Curiosity, and I think this might be the sort of first photograph of prospecting on another planet. There we are, drilling on Mars, and perhaps we'll hear a bit more about this later in the conference as well. So you look at the success that we've had with the media, and we really have spared no expense in our publicity. So this week we organised for a meteor to explode over Russia, and also managed another asteroid to fly by. And this is a very helpful diagram for people who are thinking that the meteor and the asteroid. Here are the orbits quite different. They're not really from the Telegraph in London. And from my own area of research, which is satellite navigation, to have this asteroid flying within the orbit of GPS is a concern, but also very interesting. Okay, so just a little bit of housekeeping. There's a lot of logistics that we have to get organised in this event. There's a lot of coming and going. The media interest is bothering us a bit, but let's just stick with the conference, right? We are, at the moment, here, and this evening, if we're going to the Harbour Cruise, one way to get there is to go down to the main. There's a very long walkway here, it's quite obvious. As you head downhill, that's sort of pretty much downhill, you can catch buses down here that go into the city. Similarly, if you're staying at Coogee, there are buses up here that go to
Let's tell them what numbers to catch.
to catch a bus to Coogee, you can get a 370
No.
or an M50.
So tonight.
Down here, you can get
396,
396, 397,
392, 394.
yeah, all the 391s, except for the ones that go to the station. It'll say city on the front, it's a circular key. If it says railway station, don't get that one. But apart from that, you're pretty safe. So there's the Harbour Cruise. Oh, actually, the meeting place is on here. So, for those of you that know Circular Quay, this is where all the ferries are. There's lots and lots of tourists down here, right? So, the Opera House is up over this bit, the Harbour Bridge is over that bit, and the quay is in the middle, and that's where we leave from on the left-hand side. So the idea is to be there. Oh, there's the buses. The idea is to be there by 7. Right? Okay. Now, the way Harbour Cruises work is if you're late, you're not part of the event, right? Unless you're a very fast one. Okay.
Now, sorry, Andrew, could you back up that slide for one more time?
Yeah.
Since I've been through this, because I'm a new guy.
A recent visitor to our town, that's the place there.
Yeah. So the bus leaves you on that street right there.
Where the blue side.
Oh, then, yeah, okay, sorry. Right, the bus, yeah. But the point is, you can't see this from where the bus leaves you off. So you have to walk down here, then you'll see all the ferry piers in your
True. Okay. All right. You see where our priorities are. We're spending a lot of time on Harbour Cruise. Okay. Now, this slide is already way out of date. So by yesterday afternoon, we've done 2 live television interviews and a longer story for the news. There's another one going in the news this morning. We've got at least 4 pieces on the radio. There's another one this afternoon. There's actually a 4th opinion piece that's gone in this morning, which they did last night. So there's a huge amount of interest in this topic. In fact, it's not just Australian interest either. We have a number of international media organisations here, and we'll be filming the radio interviews this evening. Is going to be with the BBC. So everyone else is excited, so should we be. This is me being excited, by the way.